All right, guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to my first multiple day professional golf tournament. Going into the first day, I felt really good. I also didn't put a mic on for this tournament because I just wanted to get into my process and not think about filming or where the camera was. That was really good for me, I think. So Jacob, my videographer and editor, he just basically kind of hung in the background and filmed everything from a little bit more of a distance, which you guys will kind of see how we did that. But first day, I started out pretty good. I made 2 pars in a row. I actually had really good looks at birdie on the first and second holes, but I just didn't convert those putts. I think the first hole I had a 6-footer for birdie, and I ended up not making it, which was not a big deal. And then the second hole was a par 3. I hit just an incredible golf shot right behind the pin. I had about 15 feet back up the hill. Good 2-putt there. And then on the third hole, it was kind of the tee shot is kind of set me up to be chasing it a little bit. I blocked it just a little bit right behind a massive tree, so I had to punch out. And then on the chip shot, I actually just completely brain farted. I had Fogel, and so I actually chunked it into the bunker. And then I got up and down from there, which was, a decent up and down to save bogey. And then that par 5, I hit a good drive that ended up catching a tree and dropping straight down, so I couldn't go for it. Punched out, made a very traditional par on a par 5, which that's kind of an unfortunate one because that hole is very gettable, and it's especially for me because I can make it all the way over the corner, but I didn't that day. And then I get to a par 3, which was it was kind of an uncomfortable hole for me because my miss was left with my irons and there's water left, and so it was more of a bad thought than it was a bad swing, and I hit it completely straight, missed the green to the right. And then, I gave myself a good look at par, but just didn't convert, made bogey there. And now I'm 2 over par through 5 holes, which didn't feel great, but I was just once again, one of the things that I focused so much on was I'm not going to get too caught up in each hole by itself. There's 54 holes here that I have a chance to do something really good. So I ended up finishing the front 9 at 3 over par. I was definitely a little bit... I wasn't quite sure what was happening. I felt a little bit out of control, but like I said, I just chose to stick with my process. Get to hole 10. This was absolutely a bad thought versus a bad swing. I don't exactly even remember what happened, but I ended up chunking and hooking a 7-iron. I was lucky that I found it. It was in a just horrible situations. I was immediately behind the 8-ball there. Ended up making a double, so now I am 5 over par after 10 holes, and I'm just it was one of those moments where in the past I would have completely just been so frustrated and been this is so stupid, I just want to go home. Guys, before we go on with today's video, I'm excited to announce that it is brought to you by Factor. At some point in everyone's life, they realize how much time they spend on cooking, grocery shopping, and preparing food for themselves. For me, when we started traveling, when we started having a schedule that required us to be very on time to things, I realized that I also want to stay on top of my nutrition, and that is where Factor has really come into play for me. I have been using these Factor pre-made, never frozen meals for this entire year, and I absolutely love them. So for me, I always go with the keto version of these meals, but they have a vegan and many other options to fit whatever diet that you have. Another huge benefit to these meals right here is they only take 2 minutes to be fully ready to go. I will pop some holes in this, put it in the microwave, heat it up for 2 minutes, and then I'll be on my way to the golf course, the airport, or wherever I'm going. So right now, head to factor75.com or click the link in the description to get 50% off of your first Factor box. Let's get right back to today's video. Thanks for tuning in. So hole number 10, I made a double. Hole number 11, I made just a traditional par. And then hole number 12 on the first day was the most absurd hole of the whole tournament for me. It's kind of a weird par 5 how it was set up. It kind of is miles wide fairway, it's just huge. But if you miss it a little bit to the right, there's it cuts back pretty quickly, and it's only a 310 yard distance to OB. So this was kind of, again, where the situation was kind of a bad thought. Right at impact, closed the face a little bit, hit it dead straight into this freaking tree on the left. We didn't even know if it came out. We didn't see it. It was water beyond that tree, but nobody saw it land in the water. So if you don't see it go in the water, you have to essentially play it as a lost ball. So ended up hitting a provisional, just hoping that somehow that ball had made it across that pond on the left. Hit the provisional just dead center of the fairway. It was perfect. And then in going looking for my first ball, didn't end up finding it. So now hit 3 off the tee, laying 4 in the fairway. I had 147 yards in on a par 5, and I'm just thinking, it was a front pin. I'm just thinking, like, can I somehow scratch a par out of this? And I ended up hitting just a really solid pitching wedge up there. Played it about 150. It was a little into the wind, and I think I landed it about probably 6 feet from the hole, spun back a foot or two, and then I ended up making the putt for a par after hitting the tee shot out. So it was an incredible par, but it also felt like I got robbed because I made an eagle with 2 penalty strokes, which is just crazy. But made a par there, and that kind of like reinforced it. Like, yeah, I'm going to stick with this. I'm going to grind it out, and I'm going to see what happens. So then that was followed by a par 3, made a really good par. And then I got to a par 4 that was drivable as the first. It's like the shortest hole on the course, par 4 wise. And it was a 315 yard carry, I think. 315 yard carry to clear the water. There's just a big pond short of the green. And I was like, you know what? It's downwind. I know that I don't even have to like fully square this up to carry it 315. So I was like, what the heck? So pulled driver and hit it really well, just right at the green. It was pin high and chipped up, and I almost chipped in for eagle and tapped in for birdie. That was my first birdie of the day. So now I'm back to 4 over, which I was like, I got 4 holes left. I'm gonna grind it out. The next hole, I kind of hit just a weak 5 iron to the right. Found my ball in the bunker. Had 150 yards on the dot into the wind. Had a great lie in the bunker, so just took a 9 iron, just kind of a standard swing, played at 155, and it literally landed 1 inch from the hole and spun back 6 inches, and I had another tap in for a birdie. Now I made 2 birdies in a row, and I was like, yeah, just got to stick with it and got to grind it out. I get to hole number 16, water down the left, but I was hitting my driver really well today, and I was really proud of myself for my course management because I didn't hit any clubs off the tee that I felt like I was trying to take a huge risk. So I hit driver, ended up just making a really traditional par on 16 and 17. And then hole number 18 is at the Palmer course is just really weird. It's a pretty hard hole. It was playing long that day. On the first day, it was like 560. And it's extremely narrow. There is in-course out of bounds down the right because of hole number 1. And so if you missed just into one's fairway, which is there's not very much distance, it's OB. And my miss with my driver is right. So I was like, I'm just going to hit 2 iron. I know I can just hit a little baby draw. And it's going to be, I'm playing at a 3-shot hole. So I hit a great tee shot exactly how I wanted to. And then decided to lay up with a 4 iron. I really wanted to get myself right to like 115 yards. That was a really good number for me that day. So I hit just a great 4 iron layup, put myself in perfect position, just right side of the fairway. And this wedge shot that I had on hole number 18 was a little bit like, I was struggling to like feel comfortable with a number because it was into the wind. It was 112 to 115, and it was probably playing 120. And it was a right pin. So I was like, I wasn't going to like not be aggressive. I played aggressive for the last couple holes. I got it back to 3 over par after being 5 over, 2 birdies in a row. And so set up to it, and I backed off because I was like, I cannot hit this golf ball right now. So I backed off, reset, and then hit just a beautiful wedge shot. Spun it back about 6 feet to just another tap in to finish the round. So I really am proud of myself for how I stuck with it. I was 5 over at one point, and I absolutely grounded out the last 5 holes. So after the first day, I kind of went back and reassessed my round. I was really happy with every single club that I hit off the tee. There was only one club that I was going to probably change and not hit that club off the tee. So second hole, day 2, had a really good number for an 8-iron. Just hit a shot that overdrew a little bit, missed the green, just 12 feet to the left maybe, and had a really just traditional pitch shot up there, hit it to about 3 feet, and made the putt for a par. And then get to hole 3. This hole was kind of a weird hole for me. I didn't play it well either day, but I did the exact same thing that I did on day 1. I blocked my tee shot just a little bit to the right, missed it behind a tree. And this is where golf is just so, sometimes you don't even understand, because I had 170 yards to the pin. It was into the wind and it was in the rough. So I'm thinking to myself, I can get a 160-yard shot over this tree pretty easily. It's just a smooth 9-iron, and I was actually like playing for it to jump a little bit because there was a lot of grass behind the ball. So I was like, it's not going to spin. So there was a bunker up there just short of the green, and I'm thinking to myself, if I can just get it in that bunker or just over that bunker, that's totally fine. I believe that I can get that up and down. So went through my routine, and I hit a golf shot, and as soon as I hit it, I'm like, oh my gosh, that is flying 200 yards. And it was going the wrong direction, straight toward the OB. So I hit, and I saw it bounce, and I saw it take a huge bounce, and I pulled out my Cobalt, and I'm looking through it. I'm like shooting it, and I'm like, that's 190 yards to that OB stake. Surely it didn't make it all the way that far. It's like, that's ridiculous. But in order to make sure I'm saving time, I ended up dropping, hitting a provisional, and I got it into that bunker exactly like I was trying to do on the first shot. And get up there, ended up finding out that my ball was OB, my second shot. So hit 2 out of bounds, dropped 3, hit 4 into the bunker. Now I'm hitting 5 out of the bunker to a back pin. I hit it up to probably 7 feet. Had a little bit of a slider, missed it above the hole. 2 putt for a double bogey on day 2 after 3 holes on 5 over par. That was a real, just absolute gut punch. But once again, I was proud of myself for how I just moved on to the next hole. It's a par 5. And I hit a fantastic drive, cut the corner, had 228 yards left. It was into the wind. Just decided to go with a 4-iron, a front pin. I was like, it's a little short, or if it rolls on, it's fine. Hit a great 4-iron, just missed it, just kind of skinnied it a little bit, which was probably a good thing because it was into the wind. So I got it all the way up to just short of the green. Pitched up to 4 feet, I think, was able to convert that and make a birdie. So 5 over, now I'm back to 4 over, and really just trying to find my bearings. I obviously knew there was a cut today. 2 over is kind of what it was looking like total in order to be able to make the cut and play the final day. Go on, play the next 3 holes in even par, and then hole number 8. This was slightly unfortunate. I made a bogey, but then I followed it up with a birdie on hole number 9. Hit a great drive up the left side. I had 132 yards left to the pin. I hit it right over the flagstick, 20 feet long, and made the putt. After the front 9 of day 2, I was 3 over par. Obviously knew I was going to have to make a real run for it in order to have a chance to make the cut. So hole number 10, made a great par. Hole number 11, I hit a great 2-iron, hit it to 16 feet short of the pin, 2 putt for a par. And then I made it back to hole number 12, which is a short par 5. And I knew that this is a very birdie, if not have a great chance to make eagle. So hit a drive that was a little bit spinny, and then I was left with 196 yards into the green. I was debating whether to hit 6 or 5, and it was definitely like a jumper lie, so I was like, I'm gonna hit 6, and I hit it really well, just a little bit to the right of the pin. Kind of left myself with a pretty awkward chip shot, but had a good target, landed exactly where I wanted to, and almost chipped it in for eagle, but tapped in for birdie. Moving on to hole number 13, very short par 3 today. It was 134 yards, a little bit into the wind. I really wanted to hit 50 degree, but I just didn't think it was enough. So I hit a pitching wedge and closed it down a little bit and missed it left. which was super unfortunate, but I took relief from the cart path and was definitely short-sighted, but ended up hitting the same club, just a little bump and run with a pitching wedge, and I almost made it, honestly. Saw exactly how it rolled past the hole, and then definitely had a bad thought on the putt, and there was the two guys in my group both missed that putt on the low side, and so just right as I was putting, subconscious took over and said it's probably going to miss left, and I ended up blocking it and missing it right. Tapped in for a bogey. So followed that birdie up with a bogey, which was just absolutely, you just hate to see that. I had added back to 2 over on the day, which I was 4 over total, and then I made that bogey to get to 5 over total, which I was just like, man, this is probably not going to get me. I'm going to need to make at least 2 or 3 birdies coming in if I want to have a chance to play the final day. 15, 16, and 17 just made really kind of ho-hum pars, and then hole 18, there was some weather coming in, and I knew that it was going to be really close, but I hit my tee shot, hit it exactly where I wanted to. They was playing shorter today, and I knew that, like, if I wanted any chance to play the final day, that I was going to have to make for sure birdie, and eagle would have been even better. So hit a great tee shot. It kind of just lightly started to rain. Get up there in the fairway. It was lift clean in place, so I marked my ball, I'm cleaning it off, and I set it back down, and as soon as I set it back down, I had my 5-wood in hand. It was 270 yards downwind. I had literally taken some practice swings, and I was like going to set up to the ball, and the horn blows, and I backed off because it blew, and then the guys in my group were like, we have to go in. Like, Steve said we have to go in, and I'm like, are you kidding me? I have 2 more shots that I want to hit in order to try to get into this thing, and they're telling me that we have to go in. So, march my ball, everybody goes back to the clubhouse, and it just downpours for 2 hours straight. We were asking them, like, do you think we're going to get back out? And they were like, we don't know. If it clears up around 6, we could have a chance. So we waited around for, I think it was like an hour and a half to 2 hours. It ended up raining so much that the course was soaked. They wouldn't let anybody back out. So I'm in the 18th fairway, and we went home, and it was resuming the following day at 8 a.m. Everybody was going to finish, and then they were going to play the 3rd round starting after that. So go home, go back the next morning, 8 a.m., hit some balls, go straight to the 18th fairway with my 5-wood, and it was literally my first shot of the day, 270 yards. It was perfectly calm. It was a great number for that club. Skinnied it and missed it just a little bit to the right, just short of the green. So now I'm thinking, okay, I got to get it up close for birdie or chip in for eagle if I want to have any chance. So ended up hitting a low shot that stopped 20 feet short of the pin. Left my putt 2 feet or about a foot short and tapped in for par, totaling in 5 over par for 2 days. I knew that I wasn't going to make the cut. Like, there was just at 5 over par, it was like the top 40% of the field, which left, I think the cut was 3 over. So I was like, there's no way it's moving 2 shots. It was just time to, kind of assess what I had done the last 2 days and figure out how to, learn from it and move forward. I was just really proud of myself of how mentally I stayed in it. I feel like there was only a handful of instances I could probably count on one hand that I actually wasn't fully committed to a golf shot. Obviously not the best performance golf-wise, scoring-wise, but a lot to learn from. There is definitely, I took everything that I kind of learned from this couple of days, went to my coach, and it's just part of the process of creating a plan in order to get better, and we're doing that, and there's lots of really good things happening. So I'm super pumped for just this journey. I have some really big things coming up in July that I will let you guys know as soon as I can. But just a lot of fun stuff, and the biggest tournaments that I've ever played in are going to happen in July. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for the support. Thanks for subscribing to the channel. Thanks for continuing to watch this journey. And I will let you guys know when the next one is. Thanks. Peace.